What's up, all my Jeeping people? If you guys follow my channel, you may remember a while back that I had a mishap with my radiator on my way to the Jeep Invasion in Pigeon Forge. The top radiator mount had broken loose and fell over into the fan and just chopped the heck out of my radiator. So therefore, of course, I lost a ton of water, and the auto parts store got me a new radiator, but I filled it back up with water. Well, winter is coming upon us, and I still haven't checked my antifreeze levels to make sure that's proper ratio with water versus antifreeze so it doesn't freeze up. That's what we're doing today. So everyone, let's get on with it. Okay, when I pop the cap, let me take the camera off the tripod here. Took my radiator cap off, and the Jeep is cool. I mean, I was went and got some antifreeze a little while ago. So which means she's a little bit warm right now, but whatever you do not remove that radiator cap when the Jeep is hot. You squeeze this hose right here. If it has a lot of pressure whenever you squeeze it, do not take that cap off. What will happen is all the pressure this radiator's under, so this is a 13-pound cap right here. All that pressure that water's under will blow right back on you, and it will scald you. You will have some serious burns. So wait till your Jeep cools down before you pop the radiator cap. I cannot emphasize that enough. Safety, people. Okay, now back on. You can see that I've got quite a bit of color in my water here. Of course, I had quite a bit of antifreeze in the block, and it was like I don't remember what it was, but it was like way below zero where I had the setting before. Okay, because I've got my little handy dandy tester here. So I've got plenty of color going on here, so we're going to go ahead and test this and see where it's at right now and see how much I got to drain out and put more antifreeze in if I have to. Okay, your little coolant tester here, you got two sides of it. Blue here for your freeze protection, red here for your boilover protection. Of course, it's starting to get cold out here, so we're not going to worry about the boilover protection, but still yet, you're going to look at it whenever you test it. I've never had an issue with this Jeep running hot. I mean, no matter, this is the second engine I had. This engine came out of a 95 Cherokee, but even the engine before it, I have had no issues at all. So this is the one we're going to test right here. This is the meter we're going to worry about for the moment. But the other side does matter as well once it warms up. So let's get some juice up in this thing. What you do is you take and squeeze that bulb down really tight. Put your hose down inside there, and try to submerge as much as possible because you want to get this plenty of fluid up in this. And there we go. Then you pick it up, take your hose and kink it like this right here. Therefore, this doesn't run back out. So what we're looking at here, I don't know if you see it, but right up here, it says liquid level. So you want your testing batch to be at least that, because you want this right here submerged. So it looks like we're really, oops, sorry, I was looking at this and not the camera lens, camera viewfinder. So it looks to me like I'm pretty well good to go, because right here 0 minus 7 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm in the United States, Tennessee, matter of fact, so therefore I measure Fahrenheit for some European countries or Canada, wherever may do Celsius. So there's a gauge for your viewing pleasure. 50% concentration recommended for negative 37 degrees Celsius, negative 34 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, looks like I am like well within the limits. Now I just bought 2 gallons of antifreeze, expecting to have to take care of this. Looks like I am good to go. So negative 7, 20, 34, 45. Looks like I am good to go. I'm better than negative 45. Let's see, for boilover protection. And we're looking at the Fahrenheit scale for me, 268 degrees right here. And that's with a 15-pound cap. And I've got a 13-pound cap. Again, like I showed you a moment ago. 13 pounds right here. Now that may or may not be the right one for this Jeep. I don't know. It was on the Jeep when I got it. It's always served me well, so I haven't sweat it. But I'm good from my boil over to well over 268 is where it stops at, so I'm way above that. So it looks like I'm good to go from the boilover points too. Freeze, -45 better. So hey, we're good to go. Take this and just squeeze the bulb. And empty it out. I'll put this back in the shop for our next testing. Next car we test is probably my old Bronco, because I think about putting it back together. Then my Mustang. Get rid of that old junky Thunderbird I got in the background. Right here, for the people who don't know, that's the only reason I'm doing this. These little hooks, you got these little notches on your radiator. Go there, push down, and turn. Turn, dang it. There it goes. Then you keep turning, then you keep turning, and you hit a point to where it will not turn any longer. Ta-da! Push that down. Because some people's going to ask, what's that for? Well, what this right here is for, as I mentioned a moment ago about do not open this cap while the engine is hot because it's under pressure. Whenever you pull this right here, you see this little hose right here? This hose is connected to a, right there is my overflow tank. Okay, see that hose going into it? What that hose does is as the engine gets hot or engine gets cold, it'll push and pull water from that tank right there. So whenever you pull that lever right there, if you was to pull that lever up and it's under any kind of pressure here on the radiator hose, you pull that lever up, it releases the pressure over into that overflow tank. But still yet, even if you do relieve the pressure like that, wait till the engine cools down before you remove the cap. I've done it before, getting all froggy and impatient, and I got burned pretty bad. I mean, not enough that I got like second, third degree burns enough, but my hand was like really, really red. Don't do it. Take it from experience. So, there you go. Now, some of you is going to ask, okay, Chuck, what if it wasn't okay? What if, whenever I tested it with my little tester here, what if it wasn't to specs to where, you know, it's possible the engine could freeze over? That's a very good question. Obviously, I'm not going to drain the water out of mine and put more water in it just to simulate the situation here. So, if you were running pure water in it, you know, you test it, and it'd be, you know, whatever its setting was on the little tester. And you can pick these up at your local auto parts store for about $4. I think I paid $3 and some change, so say call it $4. Very simple to use. Pick you one up. I really highly advise. Or I'll look on Amazon, see if maybe I can put a link down below. You guys can order you one if you don't want to chase one down. Nonetheless, if for instance your radiator, the fluids in it did not test up to par to where you got a very low reading for freeze points and boilover points, basically what you need to do at that point is drain the drain the fluids out of the radiator. The best thing you can honestly do is drain it all out. Drain it until it's completely empty. And what you see here, I got the concentrate version. Concentrate means it's pure. Pure meaning there are some out there that has a 50-50 mix of water and antifreeze. And that's okay if you want to go that route. Because actually it's a more simplistic route to take, because you don't have to worry about doing your, you know, okay, how much water have I got in it? If I got this much water and if I put X amount of antifreeze in, will the ratio be correct? You know, you really don't have to worry too much about that. But with the concentrates like this, call me a cheapskate, call me whatever, but I have an issue with paying for water, okay? So, and again, this is going to be one of those arguments that people can contest me on down in the comments below, whatever, have at it. It's always read that you're supposed to, antifreeze all over my bumper. It's always been expressed that you must put distilled water in there, and that's, I cannot disagree with that. But the thing with what the difference between tap water and distilled water is that the tap water is going to have more stuff in it that could potentially cause corrosion, where distilled water has gotten filtered, and all the distilling process, it actually cleans the water a lot, therefore potentially keeping the corrosion down. Now your 50-50 mix has that distilled water mixed in with it. Your call, your choice. I've always run tap water in my engine. I've never had an issue with any type of corrosion. I mean, you seen how clean when I showed you my little gauge here. When I showed you that, I had no sediment, no floaties, no funky looking water, no discoloration. I had antifreeze color. Now, bear in mind, not all vehicles do you want to do that with. These old school 4.0s, these Stern motors right here, are practically bulletproof. A lot of your newer cars that have aluminum blocks or aluminum heads and things like that, you really need to be more meticulous about what fluid you put into it. So again, your call. If you want to pick up distilled water to mix in with it, which I would not at this point. If I was that picky gonna have distilled water, I'd go ahead and pick up the 50-50 mix. Again, your call. So I just wanted to point that out. So what you would do, you drain all the water out of the radiator, okay? And let's just say hypothetically we're going to put the concentrate in and not the 50-50 mix, okay? What I would personally do, put in the radiator, pour in, depending on this is kind of hard to explain simply because you got to really know the volume of your radiator whenever you pour the stuff in, because you're going to have water and antifreeze and stuff still in the block. So if you really want to get meticulous and try to keep track of the ratios, do like a half a gallon of water, half a gallon, then the rest of the gallon, and more water. Therefore, as you fill the radiator up and you wait for the radiator to take the fluids down, because as you pour it in the radiator, what happens, it has to run down inside the cores. And sometimes it takes a moment for it to level out down inside all the cores. And I'll show you what the cores are here in just a moment. So as it runs down inside there, you may have to like pour half a gallon in there first, then a half a gallon of water, or if your radiator is big enough, you can pour a whole gallon of antifreeze and then pour a whole gallon of water, depending on how much volume your radiator has. This one is a lesser volume than the radiator I used to have in it. This one has got one 1-inch core in it. The radiator I took out had 2 1-inch cores in it, therefore twice the volume, okay? So probably if I had to put water in this or had to put antifreeze mix in it, I would probably do about half a gallon of water, and keep alternating that until I had my ratio correct with as much close to 50-50 as I could. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Now I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys what I mean by the cores. Be right back. Now look right down the side there. You see that little slot right at the end of my fingertip right there. That is where, as the water circulates through the radiator, the water circulates down through those cores right there. As it pulls through that core right there, that's where it sends all the heat through that core right there. Then those fins you see right there help dissipate out the heat, because you see the straight line up and down, then you see the little ziggly lines going back and forth. Going up and down right there is those right there, at the end of my finger. That's your core where the water flows through. The little ziggly lines coming back and forth between the cores are your fins. Those act as cooling fins, kind of like a heat sink on a processor of a computer or something like that. As it joins those cores together right there, it allows that airflow to come between those and dissipate the heat. Cool? Alright, now let me show you a bigger radiator. Okay, here's a much larger radiator, and you also notice too that the difference between the Jeep and this radiator, this one is a cross flow, meaning that the water goes across. I mean, I know it seems elementary, but I'm sorry, I just have to explain it like it is. Versus the Jeep is a vertical flow. Is one better than another? I've never seen any difference that says, hey, I would prefer one over another. I've run them both. This one actually right here actually come out of my Jeep. And this, where I mentioned earlier, is where the fan got into it and chewed it all to pieces. I was spitting water out through here. I ran this radiator in my Jeep for a long time. It did absolutely wonderful. It came out of a Ford Explorer. So, sorry people, I'm still fighting this cold. And this was a beast of a radiator because it is 2 cores. Why is it 2 cores? Now, look right through here. I can't, because of the way the water neck's made, maybe you can, maybe you can't, I don't know. I mean, I can see it with my eyes, but the camera's not going to pick it up. Right there. The camera's picking it up a little bit. Right there on my thumb is one core, and right over from it is another core. You got two 1-inch cores in it, so you got twice the volume in this radiator. And let's see, you top the cooling fins right there. Okay, here we go. Right there's one core, right there's the other core. And look at the overall width of this radiator versus what we're seeing in the Jeep. This and having twice the volume, it's gonna be, it would have to get a lot more drastic hot outside to make this radiator, to make the engine run hot running this radiator. Whenever you got more volume for your cooling system, you can't go wrong with that. It just can't go wrong. Cooling system is something you really cannot go overkill with. Well, with radiators anyway. Now the high flow water pumps and some of the other BS, no, those really are dependent upon what you're doing. And again, over here this side you can see core right there, core right there. Each one of them is, you see right here is the edge of that core, and right there at the end of my fingers the edge of that core. Then here's the edge of that core, and out here, so you can see two 1-inch cores. I know I'm being redundant, but I'm making sure you guys understand what's going on. Cores horizontally, cross flow right here. And here's your cooling fins. These cooling fins join each core. Airflow goes through this, dissipates the heat from the water, because the water is extracting heat from the engine block, blows it through the radiator. As the air flows through the radiator, it extracts the heat from that water. Cool. There you go. Now let's point out, if you got to drain the water, where do you do that from? Easier to show you, we got a radiator out right here. Right here in this corner is going to be your drain. Now, actually, I'm facing the Jeep here, okay? This radiator is actually rotated, because look where your hoses are. Hoses here, water neck, cap filler thingy, water hose, and this is where the automatic transmission was, because like I said, I pulled this one out of a Ford Explorer. But on your hose side here, which will be facing your engine, typically it's going to be on the passenger side lower corner. Now again, this is going to vary. This may vary from one vehicle to another, because the information I'm telling you is yes, Jeep, cool, but it also, we're talking Chevrolets, Fords, whatever, it all plays the same. Now what kind of antifreeze you run will vary from one manufacturer to another, so please, if you don't have an owner's manual, call the dealer. If you have a Nissan, now there's could be certain kinds of fluids for it. If you got a Honda, there could be certain kinds of fluids for it. Please contact your dealership or your service manual to be sure you get the right type of fluids. Okay, please do that, because just because I showed you old school Prestone, that works for these old school motors like this, but some of your newer motors, that would be bad. Okay, so on your hose side, just to recap, on your hose side facing your engine, this side right here will be facing your fan, your engine block, whatever. This would be the outside, in the very front of the vehicle. Lower left-hand corner or lower passenger side, whichever way you want to look at it. What you would do, put you a bucket of some form under this drain, open this drain, allow the water to run out. Please catch your fluids, because antifreeze, antifreeze has a, I know it's going to sound weird saying this to some of you, but antifreeze has kind of a sweet taste to it. How do I know? Because I worked on cars so much all my life, is I've had some of it splash back in my face and you go, that don't taste too bad. Don't do that. I didn't drink a lot of it, just enough to just kind of splash the corner of my mouth and get a taste of it, and I live through it. But the fact of the matter is, because of that sweet taste, cats, dogs can really like the taste of antifreeze. It'll kill them dead. So please, put some form of bucket, something, catch the fluids as it runs out, because you do not save the critters, people. Take care of your little critters. And once if you have to dispose of, say if it's all dirty, corroded, whatever, call around to your recycling centers, call around to your auto parts places, see who will accept old antifreeze as part of the recycling program, okay? Dispose of it properly so you save the critters. So I wanted to point that out. Okay, so there you go, everyone. There is how to test your antifreeze to see if you are within limits of freezing versus boil over. Okay, very simple, $4 tool to save you thousands, at least hundreds, but if not thousands of dollars of trouble. Why do I say that? Okay, if you was to not have the coolant levels proper inside your engine block and it gets below freezing outside, what happens when water freezes? Water expands as it freezes. Well, if it's trapped inside the engine block, it really has no place to go. If you get really lucky on one freezing over, you may get really lucky and it push out a freeze plug, and that'd be the worst thing that happens. That's still a pain in the tail, don't get me wrong. There's certain places that there's a freeze plug on the engine blocks that can be behind motor mounts or in between the transmission and the belt and the flywheel and the engine block. There are places that they're just a pain to get to. That is a headache. But that would be the best case scenario. If an engine block froze and didn't push out the freeze plugs, what could happen is you bust an engine block. There you go. Be a new engine, so you don't want to go that route. Check your antifreeze before it starts getting cold. Do it, do it, do it. Save yourself a lot of trouble, save yourself a lot of headache. And also, if you get into, if you test it and you see a bunch of floaties, sediment, it looks brown or whatever, flush the radiator, okay? And they got kits at the auto parts store where you can flush them. They got the instructions and all that. Am I gonna make one showing how to flush a radiator? All mine are clean. So am I gonna make a video doing that? Probably not, but if I ever run across one that needs to be done, I promise you I will make a video doing that. I mean, I'm not rich, so I can't just make up this stuff, you know? If I was stinking rich, well, yeah, I would probably say, hey, I'm gonna flush a radiator, make a video. But I'm not, because it's something that costs money. So therefore, pay. But that little tool right there, little $4 tool, can save you a lot of headache. One, to tell you if your water's dirty. Two, tells you if it's at the proper level for boil over protection and freeze protection. Use it, do it right. So everyone, hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, give me that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, because you subscribe, you'll get notifications of these videos where I try to give you guys information to help you out, okay? Also, comments down below. Tell me about checking your water levels. If you got a question, shoot it up, shoot the question up there. Because if I don't know, I try to answer every question that comes across, but there are also a lot of experienced people who jump on and help out too. I try to make my channel as a community for everyone helping each other out, okay? So I can answer questions, but all you knowledgeable people out there, you can answer the questions too to help everyone out. Help our newbie people out, help people who are just up and coming. So just what we do, help each other out, cool? All right. And everyone, most of all out there, I want you to have a great day. Peace out. Later, y'all.